Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into some massive AI news, and we're taking complex tech developments and breaking them down into clear, structured insights. We are looking at a major shift in the artificial intelligence landscape. Now, we aren't talking about a flashy new model with a higher IQ here. Actually, we're talking about the operational plumbing. On February 5th, 2026, OpenAI announced something called Frontier, and it represents this huge pivot from isolated AI experiments to deploying coordinated fleets of enterprise agents. Let's break down what this actually means for the future of work.
Now, if you're a developer or a business leader, this question is probably going to hit a little too close to home. Right now, there is a massive, incredibly frustrating gap between what AI models are mathematically capable of doing and what teams can actually ship into a live corporate environment. You know the drill. You build a brilliant proof of concept and looks absolutely amazing in a demo, and then it completely stalls out before ever hitting production. So why does that happen?
To answer that, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the enterprise AI trap. Second, OpenAI Frontier. Third, the four core pillars. Fourth, the business impact. Fifth, the developer's reality. And finally, number 6, the hard road ahead. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, the enterprise AI trap, and the core adoption block. So, the promise we've all been sold is this incredible future of smart, autonomous, connected work fleets just seamlessly handling our operations, right? But the reality? We are mostly stuck with isolated, disconnected chatbots. Every new isolated agent an enterprise deploys right now actually adds complexity rather than value. Why? Because it lacks access to a shared business context. It doesn't know what the CRM knows, and the CRM doesn't know what the inventory system knows. It's literally like hiring a brilliant employee and then locking them in a closet with no internet.
Which brings us to section 2. Enter OpenAI Frontier, the operational layer.
This exact bottleneck is why we're seeing a big shift in product strategy, and the crucial point here is the semantic layer. Honestly, this is arguably the single most important technical concept to grasp in this entire explainer. Frontier aims to build a centralized framework that connects all your siloed data, your warehouses, ticketing tools, internal apps, the whole shebang. Instead of every single agent needing its own bespoke, fragile data pipeline built from scratch, they all plug into the single semantic layer. They all share the exact same business reality. Moving right along to section 3, the 4 core pillars, the enterprise architecture. OpenAI breaks Frontiers down into 4 pillars that make this enterprise plumbing actually function. The first pillar, as we just touched on, is shared business context. Because of that semantic layer, information flows seamlessly. The agents know exactly where decisions happen within the company, what the historical context of a project is, and what outcomes actually matter to the bottom line. They aren't guessing anymore. They're fully informed. The second pillar is agent memory, and wow, this is fascinating. This isn't just some static knowledge base where you upload a PDF and the agent reads it. As these agents operate and complete tasks, they build incremental memory. They actively get better at their specific domain expertise as they work. They turn past context into future performance, kind of like a human employee learning the ropes over their first few months on the job. Pillar number 3 is multi-runtime deployment. OpenAI realized pretty quickly that you can't just force an enterprise to move all our highly sensitive data over to OpenAI's servers. It's a non-starter. So agents deployed on Frontier can run where the data actually lives. That could be across local environments, enterprise cloud infrastructure, or OpenAI-hosted runtimes. Basically, the agent goes to the data, not the other way around. And the fourth pillar is permissions and governance. This directly solves the massive security and legal roadblocks that traditionally kill these enterprise deployments. Frontier enforces explicit boundaries on what an agent can see and do, providing those crucial auditable compliance controls that enterprise security and legal teams absolutely demand before they ever hit the approve button. Let's look at section 4, measuring the business impact, the early adopter metrics. So what happens when you actually plug this architecture into a Fortune 500 company? Well, OpenAI reports that using this connected fleet approach, a major manufacturer was able to reduce their production optimization work from a grueling 6 weeks down to a single day. That is a staggering compression of time for highly complex, repetitive knowledge work. No way around it, that's huge.
In another example from OpenAI's announcement, a global investment company deployed these agents across their sales process. By having agents coordinate across fragmented systems to handle all the background busy work, it opened up over 90% more time for their human salespeople to actually talk to clients.
And then there's this jaw-dropping figure. a large energy producer used these agent fleets to increase their overall output by up to 5%. In the energy sector, that small percentage point bump translated to over $1 billion in additional revenue. Now, to be clear, these are OpenAI's own reported numbers, and they aren't independently verified just yet, but they clearly illustrate the massive scale of the use case here.
And this brilliantly illustrates Section 5, the developer's new reality, and how it's shifting the landscape.
If you are building internal tooling, your whole build versus buy calculation is shifting right under your feet. The old method required developers to manually build bespoke RAG, or retrieval augmented generation pipelines, and manage super complex vector databases, which is exactly as headache-inducing as it sounds, just to give a single agent some context. With Frontier, memory and context management are becoming first-class platform features. You're leveraging a shared orchestration platform instead of custom coding the plumbing every single time. Furthermore, Frontier is really positioning itself as the orchestration infrastructure for multi-vendor agents. Their roadmap explicitly includes working alongside agents from competitors like Anthropic and Microsoft. And we're already seeing the infrastructure push happen. Frontier models became available on AWS on June 1st, 2026, and they announced a partnership with Dell for hybrid and on-premise environments back on May 18th. Deployment targets are now a product feature, not just a massive DevOps headache.
But let's bring in a healthy dose of objective skepticism in Section 6, the hard road ahead. Taking a step back, we really need to acknowledge that building a unified context layer across a massive enterprise is notoriously difficult. Connecting heterogeneous data sources always sounds great on paper, but in practice, you run into severe data quality issues, unpredictable schema drift, where databases just change their structure without warning, and incredibly complex access control management. We really need to watch the implementation details from these early adopters carefully, because these are the classic failure modes for this kind of ambitious plumbing.
It's also vital to note what we don't know yet. Critical technical documentation is currently missing. Execution environment specs, the underlying memory storage architecture, and exactly how those semantic layer federation models work, they're all undisclosed at this point. So until those technical specs are released and verified, Frontier is best understood as a very strong, highly funded product direction, rather than a fully verified technical reality.
But despite those hurdles, the ambition here is absolute. Fidji Simo, OpenAI's CEO of applications, stated, "By the end of the year, most digital work in leading enterprises will be directed by people and executed by fleets of agents." I mean, wow, that is a massive, landscape-altering prediction about the sheer scale of the shift OpenAI is trying to engineer.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative question to chew on. Are enterprises truly ready to hand the reins over to these digital workhorses, given the immense data and infrastructure challenges that lie ahead? The plumbing is being laid down for sure, but the water hasn't fully been turned on yet. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I highly encourage you to keep a close eye on the fascinating evolution of AI infrastructure.